Hi there, I'm Java Jim with First Line Equipment, and today in front of us we have the brand new, incredible Mazzer Robur S doserless, stepless, electronic espresso grinder. Whew! There's a lot there, and there's a lot here in this grinder. And just to start, this is a commercial grade grinder. We actually have a customer that uses the regular Robur and sometimes does about 1,000 shots per day during the summer here in the Jersey Shore. This is an incredible grinder for commercial use, high volume, and also for some people in the office and the home, but mostly for commercial use. We're going to go over some of the things that are included with this grinder. And again, it doesn't say for household use, used by basically skilled personnel for commercial use and not for household use. So there is a warning in here about it. It's basically a legal lease by Mazzer that doesn't want you to use it for the home. It does come with a nice tamper. Sizes can change, but it looks like a 58 and 57 millimeter to me here. Comes with a grinder cleaning brush. You want to open up the grinder, remove the finger guard here, and you can get in there. In it is when the unit has been tested. There's a little slip of piece of paper. We also have 2 additional tongues. The tongues, these can be removed. There's 2 Phillips head screws here in the holders, and you can put these larger tongues. The tongues are used to hold the portafilter in place, so you can press the button to grind the espresso and leave the portafilter there. We'll get into more detail later about that. There is a little lever for the stepless adjustment. Around here you will find, around the adjustment disc, you will find some holes to screw in the adjustment lever, nicely placed. The only thing is with the back of the grinder, you have another tongue here that activates a switch, so make sure you have the bean hopper in place and a screw lock to hold it in place. Sometimes you will need to move this lever, and this is common for the larger Mazzer grinders, to the different holes because you can't pass, okay, through the back. There's a nice stainless steel tamping station that's also included. 2 instruction manuals, one specifically for the Robur S and one for the electronics. So you'll see 2 manuals also included. There is a drip tray. If it looks to you as white, it is made of stainless steel. This does peel off. We do have customers who've ordered other Mazzer grinders and they're like, oh, the drip tray's white. It showed stainless steel online. You can peel this off. Little secret, you can leave it on, use it, and then once it gets too dirty, then you peel it off. It makes the stainless steel look nicer for a longer period of time. And that will fit basically right here in the front. Just elevate this heavy grinder a little bit and it'll sit right there in the front. And another little secret inside is what they call grind flow control. And basically this is the damper kit, and it takes a little effort to get this out, the cover. And in here there are 2 instructions inside, and basically there's these damper wires. The hybrid box, when I opened this, I said, oh my goodness, it's missing. The hybrid is actually inside the dosing chute or the grinder chute where the coffee passes through. And that it says here factory fitted. So if you don't see this one in here, it's because it's in the grinder. There's also another one for anti-dust that's in the middle here, and I will pull that one out if I can. And these are very small that you can lose them. So that's the anti-dust. And then there is also an odd shaped one that says anti-clumping. So these can be installed. And like I said, there's a lot of information about this grinder, and we're going to start getting into a lot more detail with it. Because I did see this grinder in October of 2019 at a show, or what they call Host, in Milan, and this grinder was demonstrated, and I said, we need to get one in here. So let's get started to more details. So the Robur S does come with a standard 15 amp electrical plug, and we're going to get this plugged in. The grinder takes about 6.7 amps of power, so just keep that in consideration when you're going to plug it in. And let me get that plugged in down here. And the basically power knob is here, and there's a little light there. And basically we just rotate it from 0 to I or 1, and that will power on the grinder. Okay, so you may have the grinder powered on, but nothing is on the digital display here on top of the doserless funnel. So we need to get the bean hopper, because the micro switch is in here that the tongue here is going to slide into. And just to note, there is a locking mechanism knob here, so you can turn this and the grind adjustments will not change, and you can counterclockwise this and change the adjustment. We recommend changing any Italian or European espresso grinder while it's operating, but since there's no coffee in here, you can make the adjustment. Okay, and again, this lever may need to move to different positions. So we're gonna fit this in here, and then here we're gonna lock in the hopper. And basically you'll see our display came on. So you might have the power on and the display's not on. That either means somebody broke the tongue or it's not inserted correctly. And then we can lock our grind settings here. Okay, and that's it to get the grinder started. So as we can see on this display cover here, which does rotate, and you can see the clear finger guard here, so you can see coffee exiting. Inside the chute there is the basically the grind control that we talked about, and this basically slides here, and if you look, this little lever here, when it's in the front, it's not covering the display, so they thought of this very well, that you could still move the settings. Let's unlock it, move it over, and then we'll lock it back up. Here will be our calendar, date, and year. Here will be the time that we can program. Here's to show the Wi-Fi capability, a number of cups. Here's the manual button for manual grinding. And then we have 3 dosage selectors here, 1 cup or single dose, double, and triple dose, and basically the grind time for each of those doses. Here is the menu button, and so we have grind settings. If you want to go up 1 on the menu, you press this key right here, and that'll bring you back. So let's go into grind settings first. And then here we have dosing time to program and grinding pause. So let's go into grinding for dosing time. And then here we have a time multiplier. What does that mean is we can program the single, and then we could do a multiplier for the second and the third. Okay, so 2 times a single dose, we can enable that. I'm not going to enable it. So you could program all 3 differently, or you can say 2 times a single dose to give you the double. Let's get up 1 step. Okay, and then we can hit the down arrow, hit this one, and then 3 times a single dose. So you could program the first one, and then automatically second and third dose will just be 2 and 3 times more. Or you could program these individually. So let's go back out here, and then we'll back out 1 more time. And then so let's say we want to go to the 1 dose time. We hit the menu return key there, and then from here we can increase by 1/100th of a second on the single dose. And then you hit the menu button here, it'll save, come back here, and basically you could do the second, the third dosage, and then like I said, the time multiplier will be for the second and third dose based on the first dose. We want to go back up 1 on the menu, and we have grinding pause. On the grinding pause, hit enter, we have the dose, 1 dose. We're going to go in here. Now we can say here that we want a pause in the grind time at the 75% mark. So 75% of the time we can have the grinder pause, and that basically, if you have to reactivate the button to continue the other 25%. So you may want 50-50. So you can basically have the grinder pause at the 75% of the time, and then you can hit the button again if you want more dosage. So that's a really cool feature. And then you need to, once you can program that, then you need to go down 1 to actually activate it and enable it. And again, you would hit this button here, but I'm going to clear out coming from this side. So a lot of capabilities just in the grind settings. So we're in the settings menu. So we'll hit the menu key here. One is to select languages. So looks like I'm not Asian or Japanese or Chinese, but that's what it looks like. We have English, French, Deutsch, and several other languages. At least they put in English for us here in the US. Here's some others: Portuguese, Polish, looks like Russian or Ukrainian, Spanish, maybe Turkish. And let's go back to English. And we can either select it here or hit the up key because there's already in English, but let's select it. English, do you confirm? Hit the button here. It's confirmed, yes. Now we'll hit the up button to get back up. And now we have the date. We'll hit that. And we want to set it. We press this button here. And it's the 3rd. And let's hit enter there. And I'm not sure if this is European backwards date, but I'm going to go 03. I'll know by tomorrow if the date changes. Change that. And why it says 2018, you have me. I guess that's when the technology was starting to be developed. 2020. And see, at least they put 2020, so you can't write anything after. Haha. Okay, we hit enter, set date. And then we want to go down to the clock. And we can hit enter there. We could do a 24-hour or a 12-hour clock. Let's do 24-hour. And let's say it's 1800 or 19. We hit enter here. And let's go backwards. And let's say it's, I don't even know what time it is, but let's just say 5:30. Let's see if we hold down the button here. So it moves very, very quickly. So I don't have to hit one at a time. Hit the enter menu key here, set the time. Now we're going to move down to the display and we can control the brightness. So 10% increments there. And as you can see, 30% is the minimum. Let's see if we can go to over 100. We can't, shucks. So 100% there. So if it's a little, you want a little less light, I'm going to say 100% is going to be good all the time. And we hit that. And then let's go down to standby. You want to enable that standby. Yes. And you can have it in standby mode. Let's turn that off. Okay, we'll go up one on this button here. And let's go down to number 6, which is the connection. Hit the enter menu key button there. Here is the information, if you want to get some information about it, about the grinder. And that's usually the code of the software, those last 4 digits. So they're at 000 just for this brand new grinder. Let's go up one. Go down to mode. So here you go Wi-Fi peer-to-peer, which means one grinder to the other, or you can connect it to the Wi-Fi network. And let's go down to network. And if you want to confirm that, you can hit the enter key and then go through that menu option there. And we're going to back out of this. And then we have certifications, which I'm not sure if it's the right word for certifications. Okay, so Wi-Fi module, that's the certification, I guess, of the company there. So I'm not sure if that's the right word, but this is where it is in the menu. And we'll go back up on the menu. The next one is information. We'll hit enter there. There's a dose counter. Okay, so it says 6, and that's set kind of in the beginning. Okay, dose counter. And let's see here. Okay, good. Alerts. Nothing, so there's no error listed there for alerts. Go back up one. Burr's history. Okay, we'll hit enter there. And there's really no information there yet because it's a brand new grinder. And then let's go down here, firmware version. So that's the firmware that's in here. And all boring stuff right now. But we want to tease you first before we start using the grinder. Service menu, and you have to have the password. I don't have the password, but I'm assuming that we can enter it here. So if you're gonna put the password in, my suggestion, get a little piece of tape or a card and put it under the grinder, because if you forget, I may not be able to help you to reset that. And this is probably for more of the coffee shop owners, so baristas and others, or even in cafes and restaurants, cannot go changing certain things. So I'm going to just hit the get out of there key, and then here we're back to grind settings. So as we explained before, there are different tongues to hold the filter for this larger filter holder. You can increase the height, which means the distance from the bottom of the funnel to your portafilter. And there's 2 screws here, and you do have to hold the back of the grinder. Just need to loosen them. And as you can see, it dropped. So you can make an adjustment bringing this up and down. And you see there's a center screw, and what threw me off is that on the inside, and it actually is, but it's pretty wild what they did there. So say I want to bring it up close, and if you're going to bring it somewhere in the middle, you may need a leveler here to keep it nice and level. And let me tighten it up here nice and close. Okay, and let me get my Phillips head. So say that's the height of the filter holder. You want to try to bring as close as possible in case there's a little sprayage. But say you don't want the portafilter, you want to adjust the depth of the portafilter from front to back or back to front. There is a nice screw right here, and you can basically turn this out. And there is a limitation to this, but some people might think this is the push button to start the grinder. It isn't, but this allows your portafilter to go in so much into the filter holder. And on the tongue, on the side here, there is a screw, and these hold the portafilter, and you can adjust these and take them off. And basically, as you can see, a different tongue that is longer. In case you have a much deeper portafilter, you're going to need to put this tongue in much higher. Okay, especially if it's like a 3-cup, it's extremely deep portafilter. You may need to use the tongue with more depth. And these can be a little tricky to adjust. So it's just going to take a little time to actually put the portafilter, sit it right here, and then once you have that even, then you can adjust the tongues that are here. So, and then just tighten this. You may need an extra set of hands to make that adjustment. So you have a lot of changes that you can make here for your portafilters. And again, you want to try to bring as close as possible, but don't keep on hitting the bottom of the funnel. But just enough that you have some space that it falls gently into the filter basket, and also more towards the center. And that's something that you want to look forward to. Okay, we're going to go into the dosing funnel, which we could slide this here. I suggest turning off the grinder and unplugging it. And basically, we can remove the finger guard and basically the redirection plate. That basically comes off like that, and this comes out nice and easily. So I like the clear plastic because I used to use stainless steel, but like this you could see the coffee. Now I'm going to twist the grinder a little bit, and you're going to see that the chute is not coming straight out as some other Mazzer grinders. It's actually coming out on an angle, so it actually rotates the grind, and that kind of breaks up clumping as well by getting that rotational spin in there. But in there is the anti-clumping or the anti-dust device, and they do give you instructions, but I'm going to say you could pretty much probably pull it out with a screwdriver and then also push the old one in. But that's the one that's in there, that's the hybrid that's in there for anti-dust and anti-clumping. So it's a mixture of the two, which I think will work well. But if you're grinding super fine, say a coffee that is lightly roasted and you have to go super fine, then you're going to put in either the anti-clumping or the anti-dusting, depending which works better. At that point, you may want to change it. And I'll probably say the anti-dust one, because you'll be grinding close to the dust. So, all right, to put that back in. If you want to remove the entire assembly, these two nuts come out. And this might be able to slide out if you do that to change that, but I don't think you really have to. And let's put this back into place to show you how difficult it is. And I don't suggest using any power tools for this, especially putting the screws back, because you can crack the plastic. So what I like to do is just a little tightness, and then like 1/8 of a turn is my general rule of thumb. Now the other side moved a little bit, so let's just get this in here, get it started, and then just a little bit 1/8 of a turn. Let's go back to this one, and don't over tighten because you'll break the plastic. And then just put the cover back on and turn the unit on. So now we're ready to grind some espresso. Now this is an espresso grinder. It's not for drip or French press, although you may find the adjustment. It's really dedicated espresso grinding, and it is lightning quick. Let me tilt this over a little bit, and you may see that this portafilter is kind of on an angle. And this is kind of a straight portafilter, not an ergonomic that's on an angle. So what do you really want to do, because it's kind of level like this, is we would move these lips up, or the tongues, so this kind of levels out. Again, you may need a leveler here to level that out. And I'm going to go press the 3-dose, and this is a first take on this grinder, so I haven't even tested it yet. And that's kind of the way I operate. I don't do 20 takes to make sure we get it perfect, because when you get the grinder at home, in the office, or the cafe or restaurant, it's not going to be the perfect single time or the first time that you're going to get it. So I try to be realistic with all of you to make sure, and so you could see that it's not going to be perfect the first time. So we don't do 20 takes. We do the first take. We're showing you how it works. So I'll press the 3-cup button, and guess what? No coffee's coming through. You know why? Because we have the stopper that we had to pull out on the hopper. So if there's no coffee coming through, check the stopper here, okay? The fan motor just kicked on in the back here, and probably can't hear it, but it did kick on. And now we're gonna start grinding. We got a little sprayage here, but super quick grinding. And the fineness probably could be a little finer. And then say I want to do a little more manually. And again, see, the portafilter was like this, and it's dosing out over here. That means this screw right here needs to go in, and I need to level the grinder. And sometimes you don't want to put the funnel dead center. You may want to put it here or on this side, depending on where the coffee's coming out. But the grind fineness is very consistent, but I would go a little finer here. So let's try a little bit more. I'm gonna put that in there. Again, this would need adjustment. And let's go, like I said, try to turn the settings here, the grind adjustment settings, which will loosen this. And basically on the top here, there are numbers. So the smaller the number means finer. The larger the number means coarser. So I'm gonna basically go this way, and let's turn that on. And now we have a lot more coffee coming out. So now this is pretty good, but I would adjust it based on the pour. So you could see this grinder grinds by time, not by weight. So if you change the settings a little bit, you may have to change the timing a little bit. So if you go coarser, if you don't, you have to use less time on the programming. If you go finer, you're gonna have to use more time, because when it's coarser, it's gonna come out faster, so you need less time. If it's finer on the settings for the fineness, then you're gonna have to add more time. So try to find with the manual key, once you get the right dose, usually fill the 2-cup basket to the rim, make some espressos, see the extraction, adjust the grind. Then once you have that, then you're gonna work on the timing functionality. So that's my advice, is to do the timing last. Grind fineness setting first, and then the timing function last. Okay, so that's basically to set up the grinder and get it working right. As far as cleaning, there's really not much. Just take the bean hopper. We sell a cleaner, which is a spray with oils build up in the bean hopper, and a cloth that removes it nicely. Let me turn off the grinder here. You may want to get like an air can here. There is a little bit of residual in the chute there, so you will have some residual, but it does a really, really good job for espresso and quite quickly. Again, this cafe here in Asbury Park, if you ever get a chance to visit Asbury Park, New Jersey, right now it's 2020. They have a coffee shop right on the boardwalk where they're using a Robur from probably about 2 years ago, and they're whipping out about 1,000 espressos per day in the summer. It is crazy the line of people that they have in this coffee shop. We've also put the espresso machines in there as well, and it's just a phenomenal place to go visit if you're ever in Asbury Park, New Jersey. So we hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Please, down below, give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel up here. We really appreciate you subscribing. We'd love to have more subscribers if possible. And once again, thank you for watching and have a great day. This is Java Jim with First Line Equipment.